Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down 6 shots from a music video I recently DP'd. And if you haven't already, make sure to watch the music video itself because I think it's the best one I've made so far, as well as the 3-part behind the scenes videos. Let's start by talking about the camera. We were shooting on the Sony FX6 or the A7R IV. Lenses, we were using the Tokina Vista Primes, as well as a 14mm G Master. And in terms of stabilization, we were using a satellite tripod, a jib, or shooting handheld with an easy rig. And now, let's jump into the lighting breakdowns. Disclaimer, all these breakdowns I'm about to do are from the rough cut of the music video, so they have not been graded, so yeah. Okay, now keep watching. Let's start by talking about the key light. We had a bunch of Pavo tubes rigged up top onto the ceiling in a cove-like fashion so it would wrap around our subject. We had an Amore F22C boomed up and out of frame right just to add some fill light, as well as a Nova P300C all the way at the back of the room just bouncing in for fill. We had a 300X somewhere back here and that was providing this slash on the floor. We actually had an Aperture MC set on a green setting inside of this lamp. And lastly, we had a neg camera left blocking off all light and making sure nothing bounces back in. And if I didn't say this already, you can probably tell by the drawing that all these lights were set on a tungsten 3200 Kelvin setting, besides the green MC inside the light bulb. Moving on to the next one, everything was honestly the same thing. The only real difference was that the F22C was now keying our talent here. I had to change the intensity in the settings a little bit to make sure it looked good, but yeah, same thing. F22C on that side and then neg camera left. We had a bunch of tubes rigged up top, coving the talent. On top of that, we had a couple more tubes in the area itself to add splashes of light. We had one like right back here, lighting up here. And then we also had another one rigged on a C-stand right above the couch area, putting some light into the background. We also had our Nova back at the very corner of the room, bouncing off the wall on some curtains, and this was just lifting the levels up and bringing more light into this corner here. And lastly, because we have to shoot on the shadow side, we obviously had the neg camera right. So for the car shot, we had the A7 IV on a car rig on the hood. Lighting wise, we had a tube rigged onto the car on the right side, keying our subject this way. We also had a tube at that purple color, I believe it was, lying on the ground somewhere back here, putting some fill into the car, as you can see here. We also had the Aperture MC on the dashboard here, which is putting some color onto the steering wheel and a little bit onto the talent itself. I had our key grip Chris follow us in his car and turn his high beams on sometimes during our shot to provide this backlight as well as like this edge you see right here. These drawings are pretty bad, but I'm also very tired and hungry right now, so let's allow it for today. Now we move on to one of our exterior shots on day 2. It's Maria standing beside the car performing the song, and this is where you can actually see the Tokinas perform very, very nicely because of the shallow depth of field and just the bokeh on the streetlights in the background. Earlier in the video, you could see that there's a street lamp somewhere up here. So we used that to motivate our tube lights that were just around the corner. This is what's keying her right here. We had this very, very big white fabric that we found in Jess's car, and we had that kind of coving around her so it could just bounce all the light back into the face. We also had a tube trying to backlight her. Honestly, you can't tell too much in this frame, but we had it, and shout out Kyle for holding it up. And the last thing we had was a neg because we shot this in a parking lot, so there are lights all over the place. I'm just going to draw this into white so you can see it, but we had a neg camera right blocking off all the side and providing these nice shadows on our subject. Starting off with, we had a bunch of tubes rigged on a goalpost at the top. Shout out Chris for doing that. Just keying the entire room. Moving on to the key light, I had my Amore F22C camera right, keying our talent. We also had a tube just in front, coving her so the wraparound was nice. A tip with cove lighting is having all the lights at different intensities so it actually wraps around to the dark side of the face. Moving on to the next light, it was the Nova. It was just aimed at the side of the room, bouncing off, adding a bit more levels. And the last thing we had for this specific frame was a neg camera left. Again, we wanted some shadows, so we put the neg up camera left, and although it's not a very big contrast ratio, we didn't want excess light bouncing back in, so we negged the left side. These party shots in specific are something I'm super proud of because I found RGB lighting and just lighting in general a hurdle I've had to overcome in the filmmaking world, and seeing how good this looks is just like makes me super happy because I know I'm getting better and I'm getting to the point where I can do this at a higher level. So make sure you don't give up, make sure you always try stuff, and you will get better as long as you put the work in. And that's it for the breakdown. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below or reach out to me directly, and make sure to watch the music video and the BTS videos. And besides that, I'll see y'all later.